Hey everybody! The basics of SongEngine are quite easy and straightforward. You create a chord progression, and then the engine creates some fitting basslines, melodies and phrases for you. In this video I will show you the interface, how you can make your own chord progressions, how you can work with presets and song parts, and much more. When you open SongEngine, you can see a starting page. You can create new chord progressions here, generate chord progressions, or import your own MIDI files. I click on Create New Chord Progression. And as you can see, we can choose a few things like length or meter or which scale we want to use. I will start with a minor scale and click on OK. Now we see the chords page. It's one of the two main pages of SongEngine. As you can see, we got one chord on the timeline already, and when I click on the bottom bar, I can listen to that chord. Down here we have an area with MIDI pads. When I click on a pad, I can hear a chord as well. I can also drag a pad to the timeline, but more on this later. I can collapse the view when I click on this triangle, and now it's easier to see the chord progression over here. I can change the length of each chord over here. And I can also click on a note and move it up or down. I can also double-click a note to remove it, or double-click on an empty spot to create a new note. As you can see, when I click on a chord, a small colorful line will show up right at the beginning. All these little bars show you those notes that are on the scale. So when I pick this note, I can clearly see when I move it out of the scale or when I move it on the scale. When you click on the bottom, you hear the chord. And when you do a right click, you will see several actions that you can do. For example, you could remove the chord or invert the chord up or down, etc. Now let's get back to the chord pads. I click on the triangle again, and now let's see what we can do over here. As I told you, you can listen to chords when you click on a pad. And you can move pads over to the timeline. When you drag a pad to the beginning of an existing chord, it will replace the whole chord. If you move it to a different position, it will simply create a new chord over there. Right-click on a pad if you want to rename the pad, if you want to set a different color, or if you want to replace it with a different chord. You can work with 4 different pages of pad collections. You can switch between them over here. Now let's talk about pad sources. When you click on the pad source field, you can see a new dialog with different entries. Basically, there are 2 types of pad sources. The first one are generators. You can see them over here. Generators will populate the chord pad area automatically. For example, when I choose main scale chords, the algorithm will replace the pads with all the important chords of your current scale. When you change the scale, for example from minor to major, the algorithm will recalculate the pads to match the current scale. You can switch between different pad sources by clicking on the left and the right button. Oh, and by the way, if you see a bold line at the top left corner of a pad, this means that the pad contains notes that are outside of the current scale. So this might be in string if you want to borrow chords from another scale. Apart from the generators, there's another category of pad sources. As you can see, there are some other entries like genres or common scale progressions. For example, when I go to dance classics, I can see different preset collections that contain pads with chords that fit pretty good together. Double-click on an entry to load it. Chord pad collections will get transposed automatically. When a collection was created in F minor and your current scale is E minor, SongEngine will transpose the pads for you. Of course, you can also create your own chord pad collections. For example, you can click on More and then Clear All Pads. You can then replace the pads with your desired chords, or you could click on More, Replace Pads with Chords and Timeline. Then click on More, Save Pads to create your own collection. Now let's talk about the flow button over here. But first, let's load the main scale chords generator again. When you activate the flow button, the notes of each pad will automatically adjust to the existing chords on the timeline. This way you can create chord progressions where the notes flow from one chord to the next without large jumps. The flow will automatically adjust to the shape of the first chord of the progression. Let's listen again without the flow and with flow. At the top you can see the song parts area. When you click on a plus sign, it will create a copy of the song part to the left. You can do a right click to see other options like delete or rename. We can click on new if we want to create a new chord progression. For example, I could load some existing chords over here. Now, as you can see, we can work with two different chord progressions in our song. When you're ready, you can drag and drop the chords to your DAW. Now let's take a look at the melody section. Click on Packages, and now you can see a collection of packages on the left side and presets on the right side. Each package contains different presets. The free version of SongEngine contains around 60 presets, but if you bought Trance Engine, Chillout Engine or one of the other engines in the past, this list of packages will be way longer. You can click on Presets and press play in your DAW to hear a preview. Down here you have a search bar and other settings. When you click on the bar, you can see the full search area. You can use it to do a full text search, or you can click on text to filter the list. And in this area you can change some aspects of the generated presets. For example, you can transpose the octave up or down, you can add some swing or change the speed of the preset. If you like a preset, you can drag and drop it to your DAW. If you purchased a Pro version of an engine or the Plus version of Chord Converter, you will also have the option to mass export multiple MIDI files at once.